Woman, I'm talking to you today not because you're weak, but because you're stronger than you realize. You've been carrying weights you were never meant to hold. You've been holding on to battles that have already been fought and chains that have already been broken. The problem isn't that you can't run your race. It's that you're running with baggage that slows you down. You've been dragging along yesterday's pain into today's blessing. You've been replaying conversations in your head that happened years ago, as though if you think about them long enough, you could rewrite them. Yeah. You've been holding on to people who already let go of you. But listen, there comes a moment when you must unclench your fists so God can fill your hands with something new. There is a season for carrying. There is a season for releasing. The more you hold on to the wrong things, the less room you have for the right ones. Some of you are frustrated, not because God has stopped moving, but because you've stopped letting go. Let me tell you something. Letting go doesn't mean losing. Letting go means making space for the greater. It means saying, I refuse to live in a museum of my mistakes when God has prepared a mansion for my future. Stop holding on to people who cannot go where you're going. Stop holding on to identities you've outgrown. Stop holding on to pain that was meant to shape you, not shackle you. If you want to soar, you've got to release the anchor. If you want to heal, you've got to stop touching the wound. And if you want to receive what's next, you've got to lay down what was. I'm talking about the wounds that no one sees when they look at you, kind that don't bleed on the outside but have been bleeding on the inside for years. You smile, you show up, you get the job done, but deep down, there are memories you keep replaying, moments you keep rehearsing, and words you keep hearing like they were spoken yesterday. The truth is, life has not been gentle with you. You've been betrayed by people you trusted, overlooked by people you honored, and wounded by people you would have protected with your life. And because of that, the pain has built a quiet prison around your soul. Here's what you need to understand. Your past hurt is not just a story of what happened to you. It is a weight that will drag your present down if you refuse to release it. You see, hurt doesn't just happen a moment. Hurt lingers. Hurt lingers. Hurt can live in the cracks of your heart, in the corners of your mind, and in the tone of your voice. Hurt can shape the way you look at yourself, the way you see others, and the way you think about your future. And if you are not careful, you will begin to live as though the pain is permanent, as if what they did to you is bigger than what God can do for you. Here's the truth. You cannot heal while you're still holding on to the knife. You cannot walk forward if you're chained to the place where you were wounded. There must come a moment when you say, I will not be a prisoner to something that's already over. You may say, but it's not that easy. And I hear you. Letting go of hurt, it isn't about forgetting. It's not about pretending it didn't matter or acting like it didn't shape you. Letting go is about refusing to let what happened dictate how you live now. It's choosing to say, yes, it happened. Yes, it hurt. But no, it will not define the rest of my life. Some of you are holding on to past hurts because you think if you release them, you're excusing what they did. Letting go isn't about excusing them. It's about freeing you. You're not saying they were right. You're saying they will not control your peace anymore. Woman, you've got too much life ahead of you to keep reliving the worst chapters of your past. Let me tell you something. The enemy loves to keep you stuck in old pain because if you're busy looking back, you can't see where God is trying to take you. Every time you replay what happened, you are breathing life into something that God already declared dead. Yes, they walked away. Yes, they lied. Yes, you were betrayed. Yes, you were treated unfairly. But there comes a moment when you have to decide that you are worth more than the pain you've been carrying. You have to believe that your heart deserves peace more than it deserves proof. You have to choose your healing over your history. It's not going to be comfortable. Letting go of hurt can feel like losing a part of yourself because you've carried it for so long. Some of you have worn your pain like armor, believing it protects you from future hurt. But armor is heavy, and if you're not careful, you'll suffocate under its weight. God doesn't want you walking through life braced for the next wound. He wants you walking in freedom, open to joy, open to love, open to trust again. Think about it. The longer you hold on to the hurt, the more it poisons the way you see the world. It makes you suspicious of kindness, resistant to love, and skeptical of blessings. It whispers in your ear, don't get too happy, don't trust too much, don't expect too much. But that's not living, that's surviving. And you were made for more than survival. Some of you have convinced yourselves that holding on to the hurt keeps you strong. But strength isn't carrying pain forever. Strength is having the courage to put it down. Strength is saying, I will not let what they did to me keep me from what God has for me. So how do you let it go? You start by telling the truth. Tell the truth about what hurt you. Stop burying it under fake smiles and busy schedules. Name it, face it, and then hand it over. Hand it over in prayer, tears, in worship, in surrender. You may have to hand it over again and again every time the memory tries to crawl back into your mind. Each time you release it, it loses its power over you. And then forgive. Not because they deserve it, but because you deserve peace. Forgiveness doesn't mean reconciliation. It doesn't mean you have to trust them again. Forgiveness means you're cutting the rope that ties your heart to theirs. It means you're saying, you may have hurt me, but you will not hold me hostage. Finally, fill the empty space. When you let go of hurt, don't leave the wound empty. Replace it with truth, with hope, with purpose. Fill your days with things that feed your spirit and lift your soul. Surround yourself with people who see the best in you, speak life into you, and remind you that there's more ahead than there is behind. Woman, you are too valuable to let your heart stay in a place of constant replay. Your story is not over. Your future is not canceled. And your joy is not gone. It's waiting for you to claim it back. But to claim it, you've got to let go of what's been stealing it. It's time to stop living in the shadow of what hurts you. It's time to step into the light of what can heal you. Yes, it will take courage. Yes, it will take time. But I promise you, the day will come when you'll look back and say, I'm not bitter anymore. I'm not angry anymore. I'm not broken anymore. I'm free. And when that day comes, you'll realize that letting go of past hurts was never about losing. It was about gaining peace, gaining clarity, gaining the strength to love again, to dream again, to believe again. Woman, there comes a time in life when you must be honest about the people around you. I'm not talking about casual disagreements or human imperfections. We all have those. I'm talking about relationships that drain you, devalue you, diminish the very person God created you to be. Relationships that don't challenge you to grow, but keep you stuck in cycles of pain. Toxic relationships aren't always loud. They aren't always obvious. Sometimes they creep into your life wearing the disguise of friendship, romance, or even family loyalty. They can come wrapped in charm, sweet words, and shared memories. But over time, you begin to notice the weight. You begin to notice how you feel smaller when they are near, how your joy fades when their name appears on your phone, how you second-guess yourself more than you ever did before. Toxic relationships will keep you pouring into people who never pour back. They'll make you believe that being loyal means tolerating disrespect. Twist your view of love until you think it's normal to give your all and receive scraps in return. And slowly, without even realizing it, you start losing yourself, your laughter, your confidence, your vision. Let me tell you something. Not everyone who came into your life was sent by God. Some people were sent as distractions. Some were sent to test you. And some stayed far beyond their expiration date because you refused to release them. You were so focused on keeping the peace that you sacrificed your own peace. Every connection has a purpose, and not all purposes are permanent. Some people are meant to be chapters, not the whole book. And when their chapter is over, holding on only keeps you stuck in a storyline God is trying to end. I know it's not easy. Sometimes you love them. Sometimes you share history. Sometimes they've been part of your life for so long that imagining life without them feels like losing a part of yourself. But woman, hear me. You cannot heal in the same environment that broke you. You cannot thrive in soil that keeps poisoning your roots. Releasing toxic relationships isn't about being bitter. It's about being wise. It's about recognizing that your spirit, your calling, and your destiny are too valuable to be suffocated by unhealthy attachments. If someone constantly disrespects your boundaries, manipulates your emotions, or refuses to celebrate your growth, they cannot have full access to your life. Some of you have been holding on to people because you think you can change them. You've made it your mission to heal them, fix them, or save them. But it is not your job to be someone's savior. You can pray for them, you can wish them well, but you cannot sacrifice yourself on the altar of their dysfunction. You are not their rescue plan. God is. And then there's guilt. Guilt that tells you if you walk away, you're a bad person. If you create distance, you're selfish. But woman, self-care is not selfish. Protecting your peace is not cruelty. You are allowed to remove yourself from environments that keep you in constant pain. You are allowed to love people from a distance. You are allowed to say, I release you, not because I hate you, because I love myself enough to let go. When you release toxic relationships, you make room for healthy ones. You create space for people who see you, value you, and push you closer to your destiny. God cannot send the right people into your life if your hands are still full of the wrong ones. Think about it like this. Imagine trying to climb a mountain with someone clinging to your back, refusing to move. You can't reach the top because their weight keeps pulling you down. That's what holding on to toxic relationships feels like. And until you set them down, you will never know how high you can go. This is where boundaries come in. Boundaries are not walls to keep everyone out. They are gates to let the right people in and keep the wrong ones from draining you. Setting boundaries is how you protect your heart, your mind, and your purpose. You cannot let anyone have unlimited access to your life without proving they can handle it with care. When you decide to release toxic relationships, expect resistance. They may call you names. They may accuse you of changing. They may try to guilt trip you into staying. But the truth is, you have changed, and that's a good thing. You've outgrown what no longer serves you. You've discovered your worth. And once you know your worth, it becomes impossible to settle for less. Yes, it will hurt. Sometimes walking away will feel like tearing your heart in two. Pain is temporary. Peace is priceless. The peace that comes from knowing you're surrounded by people who truly love and respect you is worth every tear you cry in the process. Releasing toxic relationships also teaches you something important. You cannot be everything for everyone. You are one woman with one life, one purpose. Your time, energy, and love are treasures, and they must be invested where they can grow, not where they are constantly wasted. And let me say this, when God removes someone from your life, don't go running after them. Don't chase what He's trying to release. Sometimes the rejection is the rescue. Sometimes the ending is the protection. Sometimes the goodbye is the blessing. Woman, you were created to flourish. You cannot flourish in an environment that constantly tries to shrink you. You cannot rise while carrying people who are committed to pulling you down. You cannot live your best life while chained to relationships that keep feeding your fears and starving your faith. So today, make the decision, release them, not with hate in your heart, but with love for your future. Release them so you can breathe again. Release them so you can hear God clearly again. Release them so you can stand tall without the weight of their negativity pressing down on you. Because the truth is, the people who are meant for you will never require you to compromise your peace, your dignity, or your calling. They will encourage you, not drain you. They will protect you, not poison you. They will celebrate your wins and hold you through your losses. And those are the relationships worth keeping. This is your life, your story, your destiny. Guard it well. Let go of the toxic so you can hold on to the life-giving. And when you do, you'll find that releasing the wrong people is the first step toward attracting the right ones. It's the kind of weight you don't always feel at first, but it's there, pressing on your heart, sitting on your shoulders, whispering in your ear when the night gets quiet. Regret is the voice that says, only I had, or I wish I hadn't. It's the echo of past choices, missed opportunities, and moments you wish you could rewrite. You cannot run forward while constantly looking backward. You can't step into the future God has prepared for you while dragging behind the corpse of what could have been. Some of you are carrying regret like a badge, a silent reminder of what you think you've lost. But I need you to hear me. Regret was never meant to be worn. It was meant to be released. You've made mistakes. You've said things you wish you hadn't. You've taken paths you now wish you avoided. You are not your mistakes. You are not your failures. And you are not the sum total of your bad decisions. You are still here, still breathing, still standing. Which means God is not finished with you yet. Regret loves to keep you stuck in the past by replaying the worst moments over and over. It will have you believe in that because you messed up once, you are disqualified from joy, love, or purpose. It will convince you that your life has already been defined by that one choice, that one moment, that one season. But let me tell you, your life is bigger than your past. God's plan for you is greater than any detour you've taken. Weight of regret feels heavy because it's tied to shame. Shame says, I am bad, instead of, I did something bad. And once you start confusing your actions with your identity, you begin to live under a false label. You start believing that you are unworthy, unlovable, unusable, but that's a lie. What you did is not who you are. What happened then is not the end of your story now. Think about this. If you spend all your time staring in the rearview mirror, you're going to crash into what's right in front of you. The more you fixate on the past, the less you can embrace the present. And the truth is, regret is a thief. It steals time, it steals joy, it steals confidence. It keeps you from taking risks and from saying yes to the new opportunities God sends your way. You might say, oh, but you don't understand. I hurt people. I wasted years. I missed my chance. And I'm here to tell you, yes, maybe you did, but regret can either your prison or your teacher. The choice is yours. You can let it keep you locked in guilt, or you can let it teach you how to walk differently from now on. You can't go back. You can't undo what's been done. But you can decide how the story continues. You can decide that from this day forward. You will not waste one more minute carrying the weight of something you cannot change. You can turn regret into wisdom, pain into compassion, and mistakes into testimonies. Dropping the weight of regret doesn't mean ignoring the past. It means facing it, learning from it, and then laying it down. It means saying, yes, I could have done better, but I can also do better now. Some of you hold on to regret because you think it's part of your penance. You have to punish yourself to prove you're sorry. But God doesn't require you to live in constant self-condemnation. He requires repentance, a turning of the heart and mind, and then he offers forgiveness. And if the God of the universe has forgiven you, who are you to keep punishing yourself? The weight of regret will also keep you from loving fully. When you believe you've messed up too badly, you stop showing up wholeheartedly. You keep people at a distance because you think they'll eventually see the real you and leave. But the truth is, the people God sends for your future are not looking for perfection. They are looking for authenticity. They are looking for someone who can say, I've been through it, but I'm still here. Regret can even become an excuse. It's easier to say, I can't because of my past, than to step into something new. But that's fear talking. That's the voice of the enemy trying to keep you small. And you cannot afford to live small when God has called you to something big. Woman, the only way to drop the weight of regret is to forgive. Forgive others, yes, but also forgive yourself. Forgive yourself for not knowing what you know now. Forgive yourself for trusting the wrong people. Forgive yourself for staying too long. Forgive yourself for the years you think you lost. Here's the beauty of it. When you drop the weight of regret, you stand taller, you breathe easier, you see clearer, you make room for hope again. And hope is the fuel you need to keep going. Some of you are afraid that if you let go of regret, you'll also let go of the memory that keeps you in check. But letting go doesn't mean forgetting. It means refusing to let that memory control you anymore. It means you've taken the lesson without carrying the poison. Imagine your life as a journey. Every regret you carry is like a rock in your backpack. At first, it doesn't seem like much, but over time, the weight slows you down. It makes every step harder than it needs to be. Dropping those rocks doesn't mean the journey gets easy, but it does mean you can finally move forward without being crushed by what's behind you. Woman, your story is not defined by the chapter you regret. It's defined by how you rise after it. The same hands that made mistakes are the same hands that can build something beautiful. The same mouth that spoke in anger can speak life and encouragement now. The same heart that wandered can love deeply and wisely again. So today, make the decision, drop it. Drop the weight of regret. Lay it down before God and don't pick it back up. Stop rehearsing the past and start declaring the future. Start speaking life over yourself instead of replaying death over your decisions. These labels can come from many places: careless words spoken in your childhood, cruel names whispered behind your back, identities assigned to you by circumstances you never asked for, or even definitions you've given yourself after a season of pain. A label is a name that tries to tell you who you are, what you can do, and how far you can go. And if you're not careful, you will begin to believe those labels more than you believe the truth of who you really are. Some of these labels sound like this: she's too old to start over. She's just a single mother. She's the divorced one. She's difficult. She's average. She's not enough. Or maybe the most dangerous label of all: she will never change. But here's what I want you to understand. A label is not the same as your identity. A label is temporary, man-made, and often inaccurate. Your true identity comes from the one who created you. He calls you chosen, loved, capable, redeemed, and destined for greatness. Limiting labels are dangerous because they don't just describe you. They start to define you. They shape the way you see yourself, and they influence the way you live. If you believe you're not good enough, you'll stop reaching for opportunities. If you believe you're broken, you'll stop believing you can be whole. If you believe you're ordinary, you'll stop stepping into the extraordinary. The enemy knows this, which is why he loves to stick labels on people, not because they're true, but because if you believe them, you'll limit yourself. You'll shrink your dreams to fit the box of someone else's opinion. You'll stop walking in your calling because you think you're unqualified. Sometimes those labels have been on you for so long that you don't even notice them anymore. You've worn them like old clothes, not realizing they no longer fit. You've accepted them as part of your story when in reality they were never meant to be there in the first place. When you abandon limiting labels, you are declaring, I refuse to let someone else's opinion be the ceiling over my life. You are saying, I will not be defined by my past, my mistakes, or my current circumstances. I will be defined by the truth of who I am and the greatness I carry. Think about it. If you put the wrong label on a valuable item, people will underestimate its worth. But the value doesn't change just because the label is wrong. You are valuable whether they see it or not. You are gifted whether they acknowledge it or not. You have purpose whether they believe in you or not. Some of you have even been carrying labels you gave yourself. After a failure, you started calling yourself mess. After a heartbreak, you started calling yourself hard to love. After a season of struggle, you started calling yourself lucky or cursed. And without even realizing it, you began to live according to those labels. Here's the truth. What you call yourself matters. Words have power. If you keep speaking limitations over yourself, you will live a limited life. If you keep identifying yourself by your mistakes, you will keep repeating them. This is why you have to start speaking differently. Place I'm not enough with I am more than enough. Replace I'm broken with I am healing. Replace I'm stuck with I am moving forward. Abandoning labels is not just about tearing something off. It's about replacing it with the truth. And the truth is that you are not the names they called you. You are not the rumors they spread about you. And you are not the worst thing you've ever done. People may know your history, but only God knows your destiny. And destiny has a way of outgrowing labels. Look at your life. You've already survived things that the labels said would destroy you. You've already accomplished things that the labels said were impossible for you. You are already more than what they said you were. Sometimes, to abandon limiting labels, you also have to change your environment. If you stay around people who keep calling you by your old name, they will keep trying to pull you back into an old version of yourself. You can't always control what people call you. You can control how much access you give them to your heart. You have to surround yourself with people who see the best in you, who speak life over you, who remind you of who you really are when you start to forget, because the right voices will help drown out the wrong ones. Now, I won't lie. Tearing off labels can be uncomfortable. It can feel like you're losing a part of your identity because you've worn them for so long. But they were never truly part of you. They were only ever stuck to you. And the moment you remove them, you make a room for your true self to emerge. Woman, you are not too old to dream again. You are not too broken to be used again. You are not too late to start again. And you are certainly not too small to make a big impact. Those labels they tried to stick on you do not match the woman you were created to be. Here's the beautiful thing. When you abandon limiting labels, you also inspire others to do the same. You show the woman who thinks she's just a single mom that she is a powerhouse. You show the woman who thinks she's just average that she carries greatness. You show the woman who thinks she's unworthy that she is priceless. And that's why you can't afford to keep wearing those labels, because the world is waiting to see the real you. Not the version covered in sticky words of doubt, but the version that stands tall, bold, and free. So today, make a decision, tear them off. Tear off unqualified, tear off failure, tear off damaged goods. And in their place, put on truth. I am called, I am capable, I am chosen, I am more than enough. But here's the truth you may not want to hear. Control is an illusion. You are not in control of everything, and you never will be. The sooner you release the need to control every outcome, the sooner you will experience real peace. For some of you, the need to control comes from a good place. You've been through enough chaos in your life to know what it feels like when things go wrong. You've seen what happens when people make bad decisions. Promise yourself, never again. I'll make sure it doesn't happen on my watch. So you've been holding on tightly, thinking that if you just work harder, think faster, and plan better, you can keep the storms away. But woman, storms come whether you schedule them or not. Seasons shift whether you're ready or not. People change whether you approve or not. And life will remind you again and again that control is not the same as stability. Some of you are exhausted, not because your life is harder than everyone else's, but because you're carrying the weight of things that were never yours to carry. You're trying to control other people's decisions, emotions, and growth. You're trying to control the future by overthinking it into submission. You're even trying to control God's timing, praying for His will, but secretly hoping it matches your schedule. Let me tell you something. Control feels safe, but it's actually a prison. It limits your ability to experience the unexpected blessings God has for you. When you insist on controlling every detail, you leave no room for divine surprises. You can't experience the fullness of faith if you're only willing to walk on paths you've already mapped out. Letting go of control doesn't mean being careless. It doesn't mean you stop making wise decisions. It means you do your part and release the rest. It means you trust that the one who holds the universe can also hold your life together, even when you cannot see how. When you let go of the need for control, you stop living in constant anxiety. Anxiety thrives in the space between what you want to happen and what you fear might happen. The more you try to control everything, the more your mind races with what ifs and if onlys. But the moment you release that grip, you can breathe again. Some of you are afraid that if you stop controlling everything, your world will fall apart. Here's the truth. Sometimes things need to fall apart so they can fall into place. Sometimes your plans need to fail so God's better plan can take over. Look back over your life. There are situations you didn't plan, paths you didn't choose, and detours you didn't want, yet here you are. You survived. You learned. Some of the best blessings in your life came from moments you couldn't control. That should tell you something. Trying to control everything will also wear down your relationships. You cannot love people well if you are constantly trying to manage them. People don't thrive under micromanagement. They thrive when they are trusted, supported, and given space to grow. Your need for control can actually be a sign of mistrust. You're saying with your actions, I don't trust this person to handle it. Or even, I don't trust God to get it right without my input. That's a hard truth, but it's a freeing one, because when you realize it, you can choose to start trusting again. Trust is the antidote to control. Trust says, even if I don't see the whole picture, I believe the one painting it knows what he's doing. Trust says, even if I don't understand this season, I believe it's working for my good. Here's the thing, control often feels like security, but it actually blocks intimacy with people and with God. Intimacy requires openness. It requires surrender. It requires the willingness to let things unfold without forcing them. That's scary for someone who's used to steering every part of the ship. But think about it. You can spend your whole life gripping the wheel so tightly that your hands ache, or you can loosen your grip and trust the wind to carry you where you're meant to go. You are not failing by letting go. You are not being irresponsible by releasing what is beyond you. You are not losing control. You are gaining peace. You are making space for miracles. You are opening yourself to possibilities that your limited vision could never have planned. The truth is, you will never be able to control every outcome. People will still disappoint you sometimes. Plans will still change. Life will still surprise you. When your trust is not in your control, but in God's sovereignty, you will not be shaken. You will bend, but you will not break. So today, choose to release it. Release the need to have the last word. Release the need to predict the future. Release the need to manage other people's lives. Release the need to figure out every detail before you take the first step. Let go, not because you've given up, but because you've decided to truly live. Let go so you can laugh without rehearsing worst-case scenarios. Let go so you can love without building walls of protection so high no one can climb them. Go so you can wake up each morning curious about what's coming instead of dreading what might go wrong. Woman, your future doesn't depend on your ability to control everything. It depends on your willingness to trust the one who controls it all. So unclench your fists, take a deep breath, and let go. Woman, let me talk to you about one of the most subtle, most paralyzing chains you can ever wear, the fear of change. It's the quiet killer of dreams, the silent thief of destiny, the invisible wall that keeps you from stepping into everything you were created to be. It doesn't always show up with loud alarms or flashing lights. Sometimes it whispers to you in the night, stay where it's safe, stay where it's familiar. Don't rock the boat, don't take the risk. And before you know it, years pass and the woman God called you to be is still trapped in the shadow of who you used to be. Fear of change is sneaky because it dresses itself up as wisdom. It tells you that you're just being careful, that you're counting the cost. But what it's really doing is chaining you to a comfort zone that has expired. It's convincing you that you are safer in yesterday's security than in tomorrow's promise. But hear me, place where you are comfortable is often the place where you are slowly dying inside. Every great transformation in your life will require you to move from what you know into what you don't know. It will require you to walk away from familiar patterns, predictable routines, and even some people who have defined your normal. And the hardest part, you'll have to leave before you see the full blueprint. God rarely gives you the whole map before you take the first step. Think about a seed buried in the ground. In the darkness, in the pressure, the seed has to crack before it can grow. The cracking is uncomfortable. The soil is unfamiliar. The old form of the seed has to be destroyed for the new life to emerge. That's what change feels like. The cracking of the old so the new can come forth. If the seed refuses to break, it will rot in the ground. And woman, if you refuse to embrace change, you will rot in the safety of what you've always known. Fear of change often comes from the lie that what's ahead won't be as good as what's behind. You tell yourself, what if I fail? What if I lose everything? What if I regret leaving? But the truth is, What if you succeed? What if you gain more than you ever dreamed? What if what God has for you next makes you forget the pain of what you had to let go? You'll never know unless you take the step. You must understand that fear is not an enemy you can completely erase. It's a signal you can learn to master. Courage is not the absence of fear. It's moving forward in spite of it. You may feel your knees shaking, your heart racing, your voice trembling. Step anyway, because on the other side of that step is a version of you that is stronger, wiser, freer, and more fulfilled than the woman standing here right now. The fear of change will tell you to cling to the shore, but God is calling you to launch into the deep. You can't walk on water while your feet are still on dry land. You can't see the miracle until you leave the safety of the boat. And yes, the winds may blow and the waves may crash, but the same God who calls you out is the same God who will hold you up. Sometimes change means God will strip things from you that you thought you needed. You may lose titles, lose friends, lose comfort, and even lose the sense of control you once held. But with every loss comes a new space for gain. The question is, will you trust Him in the transition? Will you believe that He is not just taking things from you, but making room for what's better? You've been praying for a new season. You can't enter it while holding on to the old season with both hands. The wilderness feels scary because you can't see the promised land yet. It is still the path to the promise. You've got to be willing to walk through the in-between. The place where you don't have all the answers, the place where your faith is stretched, the place where your trust in God has to be bigger than your understanding. Woman, you are more adaptable than you think. You have survived heartbreaks, disappointments, and detours that you once thought would destroy you. And yet, here you are. That same resilience will carry you into your next chapter. You were not made to stay stagnant. You were not made to live the same year over and over again and call it a life. You were made for growth. You were made for movement. Don't let the enemy convince you that the unfamiliar is your enemy. The unfamiliar is simply the territory of your next blessing. Every great story in Scripture begins with a step into the unknown, a leaving behind of the old for the promise of the new. So I tell you today, release your grip on what was and stretch your faith toward what will be. Stop trying to rehearse the past in the hope that it will somehow prepare you for the future. The past is a lesson, the future is a gift. To receive that gift, you must be willing to let go of fear and embrace change. This is not just about moving to a new place, starting a new job, entering a new relationship. This is about becoming a new you. It's about transformation from the inside out. It's about saying, I will no longer live small because I am afraid to grow big. I will no longer settle for less because I am afraid to step into more. You don't have to have it all figured out to move forward. You just have to trust the one who does. The same God who guided you through the storms of yesterday will guide you into the blessings of tomorrow. Step out. The shore was never meant to be your forever. There is an ocean of purpose waiting for you.